Good morning. This is Patrick Kelly with Digital Watchdog. Welcome to another edition of our Works with DW Spectrum webinar. This morning we are joined by a new technology partner that we have in the DW Spectrum ecosystem, which is Herta, and Herta's BioSurveillance and BioSurveillanceNEXT products. So this morning we're fortunate to be joined by Diego, who is in Barcelona right now. So good afternoon, Diego. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for the introduction. Good morning to everybody.
All right, Diego. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Herta and the solution that you provide?
Okay. Again, thanks for giving us the chance to do this presentation, okay, to show all your people, your customers, what we do and we can do together. My name is Diego, okay, if at the end, okay, you think you can ask any question, and at the end we will have like some time to answer all your questions, okay. Let me explain a little bit about Herta, who we are, also why the integration, how it was the integration with Digital Watchdog Spectrum, why it's good to be integrated on the solution together. There will be a small demo, okay? And then after that, we can go to the questions. So Herta, we are a face recognition software company. So we offer solutions for video surveillance, access control, and marketing. Okay, so all of our solutions are mainly based in face recognition. So, and that's true that we've been in the market for the last 10 years. The company started in 2010. Okay, and we've been one of the market leaders for face recognition during these last years. And this is because we invest a lot in research and development. This is the only way. We were one of the first ones who started running the software over the NVIDIA graphic cards. And it was very important. And it's very important because it's one of the ways that we have to be able to detect, as you will see later, unlimited number of faces in real time. As I said, the company started in 2010. We have customers in 50 countries, more than 250 certified partners worldwide, and the software is available in different languages. So we have projects, we will see later on some reference that we have. We have different projects in almost every region, every corner of the world. So US and Canada, Latin America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. We have here the mission and the vision. Okay, the mission is increase global security to facial recognition and to become a leader in computer vision solutions. Now we are, because of COVID-19, besides face recognition, we are starting with other type of video analytics because the market is demanding. But as I said, our products are mainly face recognition software. So what is our range of products to have an idea? So we have surveillance, real time. That means just people passing by the camera. So people pass by the camera, we detect the faces, we compare the faces against a database, and if there is a match, we trigger an identification alert. If there is no match, we trigger a detection alert. But here people don't need to stop, just pass by the camera. So here we have BioSurveillance and BioSurveillanceNEXT. After that, we will explain the solutions, okay, in detail, because are the two solutions that are integrated in Digital Watchdog Spectrum. Then we have a forensic tool for recorder for post-processing video. We export the video from the BMS, Digital Watchdog, and then we can run it in our platform, and it's able to detect also identify people in post-processing. The good thing of this one is, as we are running the software over the NVIDIA graphic card, we can detect unlimited number of faces, but also the system can run faster than real time. So we can go for 5 to 12 times faster than real time. So that saves lots of time. If you need to record, if you need to check what happened, you have a huge number of premises with lots of videos to know what happened in forensic analysis. Then we have a solution that for access control is BioAccess. just one person in front of the camera, and then it works in the same way. Detect the face, compare against database, and if there's a trigger alarm, if there's a match, then we can trigger an alarm, and this alarm, with this alarm, a time and attendance or an access control solution or digital the BMS, as you will see later with digital Watchdog with a spectrum, we will be able to open a door style. And then we have another one that is a little bit completely different from, that is biomarketing, that it gives you age, gender, mainly, and this is for marketing issues. But all of those products are based on face recognition. This is our portfolio. So which are the ones that we integrated in digital Watchdog Spectrum? BioSurveillance and BioSurveillanceNEXT. Both real-time, and when there is an alarm or if there is a match or detection, then we trigger an event to the BMS. So because we don't record video. So at the end, the only thing that we do is to detect faces and to say if the face detected, or the person in front of the camera, the persons, or several of them, who they are, if they are someone that are in the database. But we don't record the video, so it's important that we trigger this alarm. And with this alarm, you can start recordings, pre-recording, post-recording. You can create bootmaps, as you will see, and you will get the bands in real time in digital Watchdog Spectrum BMS. Okay, so this is the integration of this one. The difference between biosurveillance and BioSurveillanceNEXT. Both of them are real time. Both of them are just people passing by the camera, so they don't need to stop. People just go. The difference is that biosurveillance is capable to detect up to 5 people simultaneously. But BioSurveillanceNEXT is a high-performance facial recognition for crowded environments. What does it mean? We can detect 20, 30, 40 faces simultaneously. With BioSurveillanceNEXT, we can make around 60 million comparisons per second. So it's focused on crowds, focused on detecting and identifying lots of people simultaneously. Biosurveillance, it works in the same way, but up to 5 people simultaneous, no more. So here, as I was explaining, both of them are real-time multi-camera analysis. Next, unlimited number of people, biosurveillance up to 5 faces, and 60 million comparisons per second, BioSurveillanceNEXT. So how they work? We got the streaming from the camera, okay? And then we search, we are compatible with almost all of the IP cameras of the market. If the camera is H.264, H.265 over RTSP. Also, we can start working from 720p till 8K cameras. Okay, and then with this streaming, we run the software over the NVIDIA graphic card. Okay, and with this, we detect the faces, we can make the comparisons against the database, and if there is an alarm, then identification alarm, we trigger identification alarm. If there is not an identification alarm, it's a detection alarm, we also trigger a detection alarm. And those alarms are sent as a generic event to digital Watchdog BMS. Okay? So, both of them are to detect people passing by the camera. So both of them can be used in different verticals. To be honest, face recognition software can be used in all these verticals. Okay. Also because, as I said before, besides biosurveillance and biosurveillance, we have other like BioAccess and other systems. So in all of these sectors, verticals, you can use face recognition, and in this case, biosurveillance versus next. I just add where is more suitable one product or another one. For example, transportation. we will use BioSurveillanceNEXT. This is why, because usually here you have lots of people. You have airports, railway stations, metro. You need to detect and identify lots of people simultaneously. So that's why BioSurveillanceNEXT is the right choice for this vertical. Gaming, here it depends. If you have a casino, it depends. Sometimes if it's a small casino, maybe detecting up to 5 people is enough. But if you have a large casino like you have in Las Vegas sometimes, and you have lots of people, you will use BioSurveillanceNEXT. So both solutions are good for this specific topic. It depends on the project. You will choose one another one. Healthcare, usually with biosurveillance is enough. You will need to detect simultaneously more than 5 people simultaneously. A sports event, here I will use next. Why? Because large number of people passing by the camera, and it's important, always is critical to have the alarms of the events in real time. Because if you don't have the event in a real time with a bad guy, for example, and the alarm goes to the security guard or the police 15, 20, 30 seconds after he passes by the camera, it's useless because this guy already gone, okay? So that's why for your sports and events, lots of people will use BioSurveillanceNEXT. The same for law enforcement, okay? Law enforcement, usually the product that we have is BioSurveillanceNEXT. Retail, biosurveillance. Although you have a large mall where you have large number of people, usually for stores, mid-sized stores, usually to cover with biosurveillance is enough. Okay. Safe cities next, and banking biosurveillance. So with these two products, okay, you can go to all these verticals, and depending on the use case, we would use one or another one, but more or less, this is the typical approach for these specific verticals. Also, we have, as I said, bio access that you can use in all the verticals for access control, or marketing, biomarketing to get, this is more focused on retail, to know demographic statistics of the customers. Let me show you, because I explained, okay, just people passing by the camera, the system is detecting faces comparing against the database, but let me show this video. And in this video, you will see really how it works. So this was a stadium, okay? As you can see here, the camera is 1080p. The system is detecting almost every face that is in front of the camera. It's comparing those faces against the database, and if there is a match, then we trigger an identification alarm. If there is no match, detection alarm. Always in real time. There are no limit on the number of faces to be detected and to identify, because we can make 16 in comparisons. At the end, the number of faces that the system is able to detect depends on the resolution of the camera, okay, the number of faces that there are, and the pixels. And for example, here we have the minimum face setup is 70 times 70 pixels. Okay, here is a little bit lower, we can go 60. And if the face is frontal enough or has the quality, the enough quality to work, okay? Because when we set up the system, we set the detection threshold, okay? That means if it's a face or it's not a face. The quality threshold, that is give if this face is good enough, because maybe it's not the quality enough, and then the identification threshold, that it says if this guy is the one who is in the database or not. With these thresholds you play, okay? And then we set up the size of the face. We can start with less than 50 times 50 pixels per face. But for real time, we also recommend to have around 70 times 70 pixels per face. If you have an idea, with these numbers, with a 1080p camera, we can cover a wide area, as you can see here, around 3 meters, 2.5, 3 meters, around 3 meters wide. If you use a 4K, you can cover a wide area of 6 meters, more or less, and with 8K, 12 meters. Minimum resolution that we can start working with is 720p. Okay. Sorry. So why biosurveillance and BioSurveillanceNEXT? So as I said, we are one of the fastest facial recognition technology available in the market, 60 million comparisons per second. So this is very important. It's critical in real time. It's useless if you get an alarm saying that there is a VIP guy, bad guy, or whoever after 20, 30 seconds. That means that this guy is already gone. So you will not be able to take any action because you get this detection, this identification. The importance of video analytics and also with face recognition is to be able to be proactive instead of reactive, is to be able to take an action before something happens. So what does it mean? If you get a VIP identification, you just can, and you get this alarm in real time, so you can go to this customer and say, hello, Mr. Diego, how are you? Please go, blah, 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 blah. So you'll take a specific action. If it's a bad guy, you can stop this guy before something happens. Okay, so the idea with the analysis and with face is to be proactive, not to be reactive, not to wait till something happens. To take an action is to try to take it before, the action before, to do it something before it happens. So that's why for for real time, it's important the speed. And this is why we are using the NVIDIA graphic card. This is why we said here some partnership with Intel and NVIDIA, because our system also is using NVIDIA. So the system needs to be accurate. And we did one test with US Department of Homeland Security in 2018. We were the top 3, because if the system is not accurate, you will have lots of false positive. So this is not good enough. Okay, hi, sorry, because I don't know, because okay, global footprint. We have lots, you will see later. We have lots of reference with police departments, with critical infrastructures, large events, stadiums. So we've been for the last 10 years in the market, and we are one of the market leaders. So we know really what we do. Our solution really works well. Okay, and that is important. We are deep expertise in artificial intelligence. Okay, this is something that, because it's the only way to do a very good software, and it works in this way. Okay, and also we have hundreds, thousands of users are using Herta systems. For example, we have more than 50,000 people in the UK that they are using the system. In that case, it's specifically for access control, but then we have lots of different police departments that are using, so the system is already done. So this is why the customers, or why BioSurveillance and BioSurveillanceNEXT is good. Speed, accuracy, real reference worldwide. So that means that the system is already working and is tested, and people are happy with it. Okay, so this is one of the key reasons for Herta. Our unique selling points, I already explained it during the presentation, okay, but it's just to highlight them. Speed and accuracy, okay. If not, we haven't been able to sell the product in the last years for all the customers that they are using it, mainly for police departments, governments. We can work with high resolution cameras, so we can start from 720p till 8K cameras, and with crowds, and always in real time. This is a combination. Crowds and the speed gives us real time. To be able to detect 20, 30, 40, 50 faces, unlimited number of faces in real time, it's important depending on the project. Safe cities, sports events, stadiums, police departments, transportation, airports, whatever. But it must be, real time. Then easy way to register people. We can add people from an alarm triggered by Herta or from a PNG or JPEG of the picture of the person. We can create multiple lists, watch lists, and this is good because from the point of view of our solution, it's not important to know if the guy in front of the camera sometimes is Diego or is Patrick or is whoever. The important sometimes is to know that Patrick, for example, is VIP, Diego is a bad guy, and the other guy maybe is a staff. Why? Because when you get an alarm of this guy, okay, you will, depending on the group the group that I belong to, maybe the action will be, or Patrick belongs to, the action will be one or another one. And this is the important. If it's a bad guy, you will need to stop him and say, hey, please, what are you doing here, or whatever. If it's a VIP, you will take another different action. So this is sometimes, for that, it's important to have multiple lists. And then depending on when there is an identification and this watch list that guy belongs to, you will take one action or another one. And scalable. This is important also because we can run, the system can start working with one camera, and we can go up to 100 cameras. So we have installations with 1, 2, 3 cameras, and we have, for example, one safe city with 250 cameras of real-time face recognition. Okay, so the system can run. At the end, for us, we are running the software on a server, and the server sizing depends on the resolution of the camera. And then we will have more or less cameras, depending on the resolution, depending on the different specifics of the server, but also the number of people that are going to pass by the camera. It's not the same to detect 5 people or to detect hundreds of people. With this, we size the server, and then at the end, it's just to add more servers, you have more cameras. Okay, so it's scalable from 1 to n cameras. So this is what Gartner says to us. It's just to reinforce that I've explained in the previous slide. Gartner says that we are one of the most mature platforms for facial authentication today. And this is very important, referential projects and worldwide partnerships. So our solution is mature. Okay, we have reference in all the world. Okay, some references. Safe cities, Jamaica, Mumbai, law enforcement, Colombia, Thai police, Indonesian, Spanish police, German, Sofia, Medellin, Estonia customs, some hotels, stadiums, airports, bus stations, malls, museums, casinos, some events, Golden Globes Awards, Los Angeles Marathon. Okay, we have other reference. Okay, this is some of them, but with this is one of the what Karen was saying, right? Mature platform. We've been in the market for the last 10 years with referential projects around the world. But Herta, as I said at the beginning, we are just triggering alarms. So we don't record the video. We don't do any, let's say, we don't do any other thing. So we just detect faces. We get these faces, we compare those faces against the database. And if there is a match, we trigger an identification alarm. If there is no match, we trigger an identification alarm. But we stop here. So at the end, and in security, I've been working in the security sector for the last 20 years, recordings are critical because this is what you need to give to the judge if you go to the court to show what happened. So we don't record, and that's why it's very important the integration with digital Watchdog spectrum, because we trigger all these events, okay, and with the integration, the security guard makes easy the life for them, because once you set up both systems, he has no need to check two different platforms, Herta and digital water spectrum. He can watch just the digital water, only one platform. So digital water remains a centralized software where all the alarms are displayed there, are visualized. So that helps to be focused and decreases the lapses of concentration instead of checking 2, 3 different screens. Because you can you can set up real-time pop-up notifications and bookmarks. Also, it's important because we can link different alarms to trigger actions. For example, if there is an identification, as I said, open the door of Diego, or if there is an identification of bad guys, please move the PTZ to position 5. That means that the zoom, so to have a better image of this way. Also important, as I said, we don't record the video, though. We don't do anything with this. Video playback recording option, with the bookmarks, with the post recording when you are recording by alarm. Okay, so this is very important, and this is the benefits. Okay, and this is important of the integration and how we can add value working together. Also, the integration works in background as a Windows services. Okay, when you set up the integration, already works, so you don't need to do it. It's a Windows servers. And then we have log files are available for better tracking if there is any issue. Okay, but this is good to have everything in one. Once you set up Herta, the integration, everything is displayed, notifications, bookmarks, recordings. You have everything in digital Watchdog spectrum. So the security guard needs only to check one system. Now we are triggering events, okay? And now we are working. And the next step is something that we are starting working now, is to integrate our solution using the metadata system. That is something that we can develop in the future. So this is the Herta Display Watch integration, is version 1.5. It's compatible with the last version of Herta and with Digital Watch version 4.10, okay, and integrated via service API. This is, let's say, the integration when you open, okay, this is the plugin. Digital Watchdog address, username, password. Then you search for the servers, okay. When you have the servers, you decide what you want to send, identification, alarms, detection, or you want to have an SSL communication, okay, you save it. Then you need to map the cameras. Why? Because usually the BMS usually is managing much more cameras than the cameras that are for face recognition. So at the end, that we do is just to be sure that to map the same camera. So the camera in that case, for example, is demo cam. In the system is the Axis P1317 in digital watch to know that this is the same camera. So the alarms are linked to the camera. That is okay. So you map the cameras, and you also decided what information you want to send with the event: name, last name, subject code, group, alarm ID. Okay, you can decide if you don't need alarm ID because it's something that you don't need, or you just need name and surname, or you just need group or quality score. Okay, so you set up this at the beginning, and when this is set up, this is the integration works as a Windows service, so you don't need to change it, although you need to add more cameras, or you don't want to change something. Okay, so let's go to the demo. Okay, this is the Herta software. Let me. Okay, hello. Now I can see. This is the Herta software. So here, the only thing is that the demo is, as we are just few of us working from the office, because most of them are working still from home. Okay, I'll be just myself. So here, if it disappears from the camera and then goes, so there is identification. Okay, so here in the identification, it says that it's Diego, male. Okay, the age, it's around plus minus 5 years. Okay, so I'm 48, so it depends. Okay, also it can detect and identify me using a mask. Okay, so the system is doing that. This is a real time. He's comparing my face with all of the people that are in the database. Okay, in that case here, it's comparing with this face. Okay, you can add more other pictures. You can add up to 30 pictures, but now it's only comparing with this. And it says that it's Diego. This is a code that this is the random code, but you can use it whatever code you want. Okay, and then you can use which group I belong to. Okay, so the system is triggering alarms. You can see here. Okay, it says it's Diego, identification, it's group by blacklisted, threshold, straight male at that time. Okay, so these alarms are the ones who are going to be sent to digital Watchdog IPVMS. Okay, so I open here, so we have live, and you see here how the notifications are. And all the information that we set up, we have it here. ID, Diego, group, blacklisted, score. Okay, you can detect it. Okay, so we have here the notifications. We have here the two. Okay, then we also send bookmarks, and then we put here where the bookmark has a recording of 5-6 seconds. So what did we set up here? So we go to camera. First of all, we camera settings. We set, just let me like floating meeting controls. Okay, sorry. We say recording. So that means that the system, the camera is recording. And then that we created is rules. So on a generic event, because we are triggering generic events, the source contains the axis. When there is an identification, do camera recording. 10 seconds. So here we have the different recordings that, okay. We can also record, sorry.
So just to clarify, so in this case, what you're doing in this case is you've set up the camera to be recording. That's what you did in the camera settings. But instead of using the camera schedule, you're actually tripping the recording. So you're recording 10 frames per second, for 10 seconds based off of an identification. So when somebody matches the database, in this case, because you have the caption name there as identification, it's going to start recording. And then you've also got above there in the bookmark and the action, you've got a bookmark as well. So you're going to tag that particular event as a bookmark within the system as well. If the generic event had just come in with just the access, the source contains information without the identification, even the detections would be tripped as well. But in this case, it's only going to record when there's an identification, or bookmark when there's an identification, because you filled out that portion of the generic event function. Exactly. So here we can have identification or detection. That usually when the recordings, people use
configure only identifications. The reason is because if you are in a
Sure.
football stadium, for example, there will be lots, hundreds of thousands of detection alarms. So it could be, at the end, it will be like recording continuously. Okay.
Right.
So that's why we usually, when we try to create recordings based on the alarms, usually with identification.
Yeah, but just for the audience's sake, you have the flexibility of,
Exactly.
you could be recording back on the record schedule, and you could do a bookmark or something else as well.
Also,
using these rules.
Exactly. We can also record always, and then you can create bookmarks. So you will have the bookmark on where is an identification, and you have like a continuous recording. Yep. So there are different ways, but in this case, it's we just created a couple of rules. Maybe just only recording when there is an identification, or just creating bookmarks when there is identification. Then after that, sorry, this is it's coming here. Oh, live, sorry, it's live now. Also, the good thing of this is here you can search for Diego, for example. And here you have all the identification alarms where Diego is, because here it's the identification with the name and surname. But also you can do for blacklisted group in that case, because I'm not in the group of blacklisted group, or you can filter for ID if you know the ID, because in this case the ID is a random ID that we have, but if you can create your IDs in our system, so you can do maybe the ID 125. In that case, there is no bookmarks because there is not ID. The only ID is 11558. So that gives you lots of different ways to use it. Also, we didn't do it because I don't have here. We can create a generic event, and then we can create HTTP request. So with this, we will be able to open, for example, a turnstile or a door, if they can do like this, okay? Or also we can create show text over live, okay? And then we get the camera. Live. Okay, and then when there is, it appears here. So with this, the security guard or the guy who's checking that does not need to check our system. Everything can be done almost when the Herta is set up. Everything, the control with also recording, can be done in the digital Watchdog solution.
So one other thing you can do, Diego, if you go back into the rules there,
yes,
just thinking about it, is kind of continuing on that with the so the description contains information down there. You could put in the blacklisted that if that group, somebody from that group comes in with the blacklist, and then the actions over on the other side. So if you right click there, you'll see send mobile notification, for instance. That would do a push notification to your to your mobile device if somebody on a blacklist appears at your facility.
Exactly. You can do that. Also, you have sent an email. I think I saw it yesterday.
Yeah, there's email.
To play a sound, panic recording, or also you can. Sorry.
Yeah, you want to down in the bottom, you can open up layouts or go full screen, so you can push cameras up onto particular displays and things like that as well.
Execute PTZ preset because you want to point out a specific with okay. So the important here, and this is why it's so important to trigger the events, is that you can do lots of actions. Because as I said, our solution, the only thing that it does is to detect the faces and to say if Diego is there or not. But we don't do any other kind of action. So with this, we have everything here, and you can do lots of different actions that will make the life easier for a security installation.
Yeah. So one of the questions had come in, and it's kind of relating to the detection versus identification. So, so what I'm trying to point out when I explained this to earlier, and with the generic event function there, you can get as detailed as you want, or you can get as open as you want. So if the caption contained was blank, you would get both identification, so those are known subjects, and detection. So in the case of, let's say a county courthouse or something like that, most of the time, who the bad guys are in the courthouse. That's why they're in the courthouse. They might be in the database as an identified subject. Now, they might also have a family member that causes a scene or creates a disturbance. They could be detected, but not necessarily identified because they're not in the database. So again, you could set up the system so that, as Diego said, you could be continuously recording. And you could bookmark all detections, and therefore you would get a lot of data, and then you could use the bookmark search to filter and only show you detections as opposed to identifications.
Exactly. So we can send everything. But you are right. The thing is, we usually send identifications because if there are so many people, you will have lots of them. But that's true that in that case, that in the courts or whatever, that you don't have thousands of people passing by the camera simultaneously. It could be very useful to have everybody, and then after that, you need to search for them. You filter detections, and you will see all those people that has been detected, but they were not in the database. And that's true. Okay.
So there's lots of flexibility here in terms of whether the subject is identified, and once they're identified, they're in the database, they're there. Maybe you could, in terms of, how many faces can be in the database?
We can start from minimum database that we have is 500 people in the database.
Okay.
But then we can go up to millions. The thing is, if it's for real time, the system can run, let's say, 1 million people, 2 million, 3 million people. We have projects with 4 or 5 million people databases. But you need to be careful. Why? Because if the number of people in database increases so much, what happens? At the end, this is a probabilities. So to have false positive will increase also with the number of people, because it's not the same to compare against 150,000, 200,000 that to compare against 20 million people. Okay, this is one thing you need to take into account. So we don't usually recommend for real time more than 200,000 people in database, but we have customers that are using 3 or 4 million people. But that's true that then the thresholds are very high, and then there are not passing thousands of people simultaneously, so there are just the flow of people is lower, is less. Sorry.
So there's several questions in the chat about. And anybody out there that has questions on the system, please submit them through the chat, and we'll try to answer them here or via email follow-up. But there's several questions regarding the system resources required to run the Herta solution. And I know you said it varies based on the number of cameras, and I'd imagine it's going to vary based on the size of the database.
Yeah, I can show you. At the end, we are running.
Sorry, you mentioned one of the requirements. So it's a Windows-based system. So it's going to run.
Yes.
It's going to run on a Windows solution. There we go.
So this is the requirements. So why we say normal influx crowded? Crowded could be like an airport or a stadium, lots of people. So like the video that I showed, lots of people passing by the camera. So at the end, we process faces. So if there are lots of faces, we need more processor capabilities. For that reason, we have only one camera with this server, But if there is could be like for biosurveillance, up to 5 people, let's say, passing simultaneously in one frame, 4 cameras with a 4 cores, 8 threads, 8 gigabytes RAM, and NVIDIA graphic card RTX 3060. Then we are increasing the number of cameras. This is for 1080p cameras, okay? And then we can go up to 34 cameras with a 24 cores, 48 threads, 32 gigabytes, and RTX 3090. Or 12 cameras, it is very, very crowded. Also, here, there are the gaming cards. We are also compatible with Quadro or Tesla cards, okay? So at the end, if you need to use Quadro, this is not a big deal. We are compatible with it, okay? And then the system. So, but we are compatible with the 3 systems, and depends on the project. So the good thing of these cameras is the gaming cards, the total cost of ownership of the hardware is lower than if you use Quadro or Tesla cards, but it depends on the project. You will need to use one or another. So we are compatible with the 3 systems, with the 3 NVIDIA graphic cards, different models. Okay, gaming, Quadro, or Tesla.
So how is the Herta solution, the biosurveillance or the BioSurveillanceNEXT, how is it sold? How is it licensed? Is it by the number of cameras? Is it by
biosurveillance is licensed per streaming. Okay, what do I mean per streaming? The thing is, if you can see here, let me close that. Okay, I can have several cameras, Axis, demo cam, demo whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have 4 licenses, I can run 4 of them simultaneously. But I can change this for another 4 cameras, 4 different cameras. So the software is not linked to the hardware of the camera, it's linked to the server. So that means that it is licensed per streaming. And you pay X streamings simultaneously to process. Okay, so biosurveillance is licensed per streaming, or let's say per camera, and includes a database of 5,000 people database. And BioSurveillanceNEXT is licensed per streaming plus number of people in database. Okay.
Okay. Is the license a?
It's a perpetual license. Sorry, it's a perpetual license. The first year is warranty period, so all the updates are included, and then from the second year on, there is a maintenance fee that is a priority technical support and mainly for the software updates. We usually launch around 2 main software upgrades per year. Okay, the maintenance fee is not mandatory, so the customer wants to, they cannot pay, but we strongly recommend, because at the end, NVIDIA can change the drivers, Windows can change the operating system or whatever, and then this is something that we are working on that. If you have the system as it is, the license will work forever. Yeah,
so a couple of questions have come in, and I know, so DW Spectrum runs on both Linux and Windows in terms of the record engine. The Herta solution is not typically going to be deployed on the same server as the media server where Spectrum is running. Typically, I mean, depending on the requirements, but
exactly.
Usually you're going to set up a separate system. So in the event that you have, let's say you have a Linux-based media server running Spectrum and doing the recording, that's fine. You would just stand up a Windows-based server, install Herta, and let it, and then connect it to the media server through the screens that Diego showed. That would get you to be able to stream the video into Herta solution, and so that the 2 devices can talk to each other. So in terms of operating system requirements, it's, Herta's Windows-based system, but it'll work with Linux-based Spectrum solution, no problem. There was another question that had come up and was in regards to Microsoft Hyper-V. So somebody's trying to run it in a VM. Can the Herta solution run on a virtual machine?
We don't recommend it, mainly because we are using the NVIDIA graphic card.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we have some projects that it could work, but we don't recommend to virtualize because we need the processor capabilities on the media graphic card. So we need this hardware for us. This is one of the reasons that we usually, as you said, we try to separate the BMS server with our server.
Yeah.
Because also the recordings are important. So we don't need to maybe, to get all the resources because we are processing lots of files at that time and to process. Okay. And then for virtualization, we don't usually recommend because we need the media graphic card hardware for us. We have some projects that could work, okay, but it's not recommended.
Okay. So I think in terms of questions, that's pretty much it. I know if you wanted to go back to the PowerPoint, because the one other question I think is answered on the last slide of the PowerPoint. Other icon.
Yeah, here.
Is in terms of your that's the connection into Spectrum right there that we were referring to. And we didn't.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There it is. There it is. That's what they're looking for.
I forgot I forgot this last slide.
So there are a couple comments in here of people wanting to get in touch. So the comments or the questions, yes, we are recording this webinar. It will be posted on our website. Probably be up on the website tomorrow. We will get in touch with those that have asked, as well as you have both my information as well as Diego's information there. And so if you have questions on Herta, by all means, reach out to Diego and he can assist in terms of speccing out that solution.
If you want to test the joint solution together, we will provide them a license also with the integration of, so we don't charge for it, so you can test it, whatever. So this is not a big deal and you can put everything together. So just if you have any question, as Patrick said, just to contact Patrick or Digital World of People or myself, and we'll be happy to help you.
Yes, we will. Well, if there's no more questions, Diego, I want to thank you for your time today.
No, thanks a lot for giving me the chance to present Herta. Okay, and thanks again, and have a nice day. Okay.
All right. Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Bye-bye.